He conquered mountains, she conquered fear. The story of Nimsdai Purja through the woman who waited for him. What does it feel like to love someone whose greatest passion could also be the thing that takes them away from you? What does a wife feel when the man she loves leaves home, knowing that every mountain could be his last? The world knew him as Nimsdai, the fearless climber, the former Special Forces soldier, the man who climbed all 14 of the world's highest mountains in just 6 months and 6 days, the man who made the impossible look ordinary. But today, I don't want to tell you the story of the man standing on those summits. I want to tell you about the woman who was waiting for him to come home. Her name is Suchi, and this is the story of Nimsdai through the eyes of the woman who loved him. Hello everyone, I'm Chhaya and welcome back to Chhaya on Air. Here I don't just want to tell you stories, I want to tell you the stories behind the stories, the people behind the achievements, the emotions behind the headlines, and today we are talking about a man whose name became synonymous with the word impossible. But this time, we're looking at his life from a completely different side. The side that waited, the side that worried, the side that supported, and ultimately, the side that was left behind. So if stories like this touch you, please consider subscribing to Chhaya on Air. It really helps me continue bringing stories that deserves to be heard. Now, let's go back to the beginning. Chapter 1, Before the World Knew Nimsdai. Before millions of people knew the name Nimsdai, he was simply Nims, a husband, a soldier, a man with dreams, and a woman beside him. Nims and Suchi were married long before the world knew him as a mountaineering legend. At that time, their life had a different rhythm. Nims was serving in the British military. His career was demanding, dangerous, and often secretive. There were deployments. There were long periods away from home. There was uncertainty, but there was also something important: stability, a career, a salary, a pension, a future that could be planned. Their life wasn't extraordinary in the way the world later came to know it. It was simply their life until the mountains entered it. Chapter 2, When the Dream Began. Around 2012, Nims went trekking in the Everest region and something changed. For most people, a mountain is a destination. For Nims, it became a calling. He didn't simply admire the mountains, he became obsessed with understanding them. He trained, he studied, he planned, and slowly a new dream began growing inside him. A dream so enormous that even experienced climbers thought it was almost impossible. He wanted to climb all 14 mountains above 1,000 meters, the world's highest peaks, the most dangerous mountains on earth, and he didn't want to spend decades doing it. He wanted to do it in 7 months. 7 months. Think about that. The existing record was measured in years. Nims wanted to do it in months, and that dream would eventually change not only his life, but his wife's life too. Chapter 3, When a Dream Becomes a Family Decision. There's something people often forget about extraordinary dreams. The dream may belong to one person, but the sacrifice rarely does. To make project possible happen, Nims had to leave the military. That meant leaving behind the security of his career, and then came the financial challenge. The project needed money. Sponsors were difficult to find. People doubted him. Some thought the plan was impossible, and the risk wasn't only professional, it was personal. Because when you take a risk that enormous, the person standing beside you takes that risk too. Imagine being told, I want to leave my secure career and chase something that could either change history or destroy everything we have built. That isn't simply a mountaineering decision, that's a marriage decision, and Suchi chose to stand beside him. Chapter 4: The Woman Behind the Expedition. When Nims was on the mountain, Suchi's battlefield was home. The world saw photographs of Nims standing above the clouds. They saw the summit, the flags, the smiles, the celebrations, but somebody had to deal with everything happening behind the scenes. The communication, the logistics, the planning, the endless uncertainty, and then there was the waiting. Waiting is a strange kind of suffering because you are not physically there, but your heart is. When the person you love is thousands of kilometers away on a mountain where the human body is barely supposed to survive, you have no control. You cannot change the weather. You cannot stop an avalanche. You cannot carry their oxygen. You cannot make the mountain safer. All you can do is wait and hope. Chapter 5: The Blinking Dot. Imagine sitting at home while the person you love is somewhere above 1,000 meters. You cannot see his face. You cannot touch him. You don't know exactly what is happening. You wait for a message, a call, an update, anything, and somewhere on a screen there may be a tiny signal telling you that he is still moving. That tiny movement can mean everything, because when someone you love is in danger, even the smallest sign of life becomes precious. The climber has to fight the mountain, but the person waiting at home has to fight something else, their own imagination. Chapter 6: The Impossible Year. And then Nims began doing what people had told him was impossible. One mountain, then another and another. Annapurna, Dwalagiri, Kanchanjunga, Everest, Lhotse, Makalu, Nanga Parbat, Gasherbrum 1, Gasherbrum 2, K2, Broad Peak, Chooyu, Manaslu, and finally Shisha Pangma. 14 mountains, all above 1,000 meters, completed in 6 months and 6 days. The world watched in disbelief. The record was broken. History was met. Nimsdai had done what almost everyone thought could not be done. But behind every summit, there had been another story. A wife waiting for the phone to ring. A wife wondering whether the person who left home would return through the same door. Chapter 7: When the World Discovered Nimsdai. Then came something else. The world discovered Nimsdai. The Netflix documentary 14 Peaks, Nothing is Impossible, introduced millions of people to his extraordinary journey. Suddenly he wasn't only a mountaineer, he became a symbol of determination, of courage, of refusing to accept limitations. People saw him as almost superhuman, but at home he was still Nims, the husband, the man behind the legend. And perhaps that is something we often forget. When the world starts celebrating someone, their family doesn't suddenly stop seeing the ordinary person inside the extraordinary one. Chapter 8: Another Impossible Mountain. And Nims wasn't finished. In January 2021, he went back to Pakistan. This time, K2. K2 in winter. K2 is already one of the most dangerous mountains on earth. Winter makes it even more unforgiving. No one had ever reached the summit of K2 in winter until Nims and his Nepali team did it. In January 16, 2021, the team reached the summit together. They held hands and sang the Nepali national anthem. For Nepal, it was a historic moment. For Nims, another impossible had become possible. And for the people waiting for him at home, it was another moment of relief. Another, he is coming home. Chapter 9, What People Don't See. We love stories about people who refuse to give up. We love hearing, follow your dreams, believe in yourself, nothing is impossible. And Nims lived those words. But every dream has a price, and sometimes the price is paid quietly. By the people we wait, by the people we worry, by the people who smile, while secretly being afraid. This is why I don't want to describe Suchi simply as the woman behind Nimsdai, because she was more than that. She was not merely standing behind him. She was standing beside him, supporting his dreams while carrying her own fears, and that is a different kind of courage. Chapter 10, The Last Journey. Perhaps when you love a mountaineer, there is one truth you never completely forget. The mountain always has the final word. Nims knew that. His family knew that, and perhaps Suchi knew that too. But knowing something doesn't make it easier when the moment finally comes. In July 2026, Nims traveled to Pakistan for another expedition, brought big, another mountain, another mission, another journey that was supposed to end with him. Coming home, but on July 30, everything changed. An avalanche struck the expedition. Nims, along with members of his team, was caught in the disaster. Search and rescue efforts followed. Hope remained, but eventually the confirmation came. Nimsdai was gone. He was 43 years old. Chapter 11, The Silence After the Mountain. For years, Suchi had waited for Nims to come home. This time, there would be no coming home. No footsteps at the door. No familiar voice. No next expedition to worry about. No message saying, I'm okay. There's some kinds of grief that words cannot explain, because you don't only lose a person, you lose the future you imagine with them. The conversations that will never happen, the journeys that will never happen, the ordinary mornings that suddenly become extraordinary memories. And perhaps the hardest part is learning how to continue living when someone who was part of your every tomorrow is suddenly part of your yesterday. Chapter 12, What Does Hope Look Like Now? So what does a woman hold on to after losing the man she loved? Maybe she holds on to memories. Maybe she holds on to photographs. Maybe she listens when people tell stories about him. Maybe she watches the younger generation carry his dreams forward. Maybe she holds on to the work he started. And maybe she holds on to his greatest belief. Nothing is impossible. But perhaps those words mean something different now. Before, they meant go higher, go further, break the record, reach the summit. Now, they might simply mean keep going, wake up tomorrow, take another breath, live, even when life isn't the life you imagined. Final chapter, The Woman Who Waited. The world will remember Nimsdai for the mountains he climbed, 14 of them, the highest, the most dangerous, the ones that had defeated so many before him. People will remember the records, the photographs, the flags, the expeditions, the impossible missions he made possible, but perhaps there's another way to remember him. Remember him as a husband, as a son, as a friend, as a brother, as the man who dreamed so fiercely that the people around him had to learn how to dream with him, and remember the woman who stood beside that dream, because while Nims was climbing toward the sky, Suchi was building the ground he could return to. She couldn't control the mountain. She couldn't protect him from every danger. She couldn't decide when his journey would end, but she could love him, and she did. Maybe that's what love really is, not promising someone that nothing bad will ever happen, because we cannot make that promise. Love is saying, I know the road you are choosing is dangerous. I know I may be afraid, but I will walk beside you for as long as I can. Nims chose the mountains, Suchi chose Nims, and for many years those two choices existed together until one day the mountain took him, but it couldn't take everything. It couldn't take the memories, it couldn't take the love, it couldn't take the people he inspired, and it couldn't take the belief he spent his life giving to others, that the limits we see are not always the limits that exist. Maybe Nimsdai's greatest legacy isn't the 14 summits. Maybe it's the courage to dream, and maybe Suchi's story teaches us something equally powerful, that courage doesn't always look like standing on top of a mountain. Sometimes courage looks like standing at home waiting. Sometimes it looks like saying goodbye again and again. And sometimes the greatest act of courage is simply finding the strength to live after the person you loved is gone. Nims spent his life looking toward the highest point on earth. Now, his story belongs to the people left behind. And perhaps as long as someone remembers him, tells his story, and carries his belief forward, a part of Nims will always be climbing. If this story touched your heart, I hope you will take a moment to think about the people behind every extraordinary person, because sometimes the person standing quietly beside someone is fighting a battle of their own. If you felt something while watching this story, please don't just leave without saying something. Tell me in the comments, what does courage mean to you? And if you want me to continue bringing you stories about people, their struggles, their dreams, and the people behind those journeys, please subscribe to Chhaya on Air. Your support means more than you know. I'm Chhaya, and I'll see you in another story. Until then, keep believing. Bye.